Hello and welcome back to part 2 of my gaming analysis trilogy. If you're here, it's most likely because of my previous video where I discussed the differences between game criticism and game analysis. In this video, I'll go more in depth with what the game analysis is according to parameters I've set up for myself in my own work. So let's go ahead and dive into what is a multi-layered game analysis. Now when I say multi-layered, I mean performing an analysis with some substance. You want to give your readers bang for their buck. Obviously, you won't be able to cover everything you probably want to or could, but that's okay. You just don't want to fall flat on your analysis. In my previous video, I mentioned 4 categories you can use to perform a close reading of a video game by looking into its narrative, its authors, its design, and its content. So let's start off by discussing the narrative approach. The narrative approach is interested in the game's story. Similar to close readings of novels or films or other media, a narrative approach to analyzing a game will care mostly about performing character studies and understanding how the game's world is reflective of its narrative. In a narrative analysis, a person would be interested in detailing a character's motivations and making connections between how characters construct the world they live in. This is a more simplistic surface-level analysis with good merits and a potential gateway for exploring deeper topics. The content approach is interested in the game's world. Looking at the game content, or the game's world, shows an interest in determining how the NPCs, buildings, animals, vehicles, and other interactive elements shape the gaming experience. The game's world, or the type of genre it seeks to categorize itself within, according to its author, undoubtedly plays a large role in the overall theme, the mood, and motivations of its characters and the player. A design approach starts to lean more towards a ludological stance, where your analysis favors looking at a game's controls and its gameplay. The gameplay within the game's world encapsulates the affordances of the characters. In other words, the gameplay shapes the feel of the game depending on what it allows you to do. Wouldn't Assassin's Creed be a much more different game if it played more like Metal Gear Solid? Certain game mechanics can skew the presentation of a game and influence its players. Deciding whether a game will have a top-down camera, a fixed camera, is another example of a design choice that influences the game. These seemingly unnoticeable decisions make an impact on how the game is played and how the player responds to the game. So this is the author's approach. Now, an author can be many people in the game's production. Usually it's the writer or the director, but it can also be other people in the developer's chair like artists and programmers. Like all other media, a game isn't created out of thin air. The experiences, biases, and preferences of its creators shape the narrative, design, and the content. With the author's approach, we look beyond the narrative and seek to understand why the authors made their choices to design, write, or create the game, or characters, or gameplay in a certain way. We're now stepping outside of the game and looking into the process its creators took while developing it. An analysis can look at how and by what the creators are influenced and influence the game. These 4 elements can work together to create a multi-layered game analysis. By mixing and matching them, you can put together the building blocks to your own in-depth game analysis. Thanks again for watching, and remember to come back for part 3 where I'll conclude this series by performing a multi-layered game analysis.